Okay, we're recording.
We're recording. Welcome everyone to the latest installment of Revitalize Johnstown Presents. Do we have a title this week?
I don't have any title. You haven't informed me of anything.
We didn't do a podcast last week because unfortunately I had to kill a tree.
He wastes a lot of paper.
This is
He
my...
won't print. The problem is he won't print double-sided because he has this thing where the judges won't turn the page over.
They'll misinformation.
So everything has to be one-sided.
This is 3 copies of my response to Tran's lawsuit. I have a status conference Monday at 1:30 in front of Judge Canary.
Unfortunately, we won't have a meeting. We won't have one of these next week because I'll be going to the store to buy a whole box of paper.
So I'll be filing this Monday before the hearing. The issue at stake is that Tran is trying to appeal the Office of Open Records final determination where I was ruled in my favor.
Correct.
Because they were busted going to a secret meeting with Vision over the race grant, and they didn't want to surrender records.
Well, they said they didn't have them, and the city said that they had them, and the other person had them.
Yes, it's been a back and forth. So now we have his court here, and I want to see what the court does. You know what I forgot to bring with me?
Oh my God.
The pledge. You have your copy though. We can still talk about it.
I sent to you.
You did, and actually
you were supposed to. You told me I couldn't do anything with it because we had to do it together.
I left it on my kitchen table.
Oh my! You know, these kind of things that are really gonna be our downfall.
Oh well. Well, I got a letter this week, everybody. The letter was from State Rep Frank Burns, and it was calling for a candidate pledge.
Yeah, it was.
And Joe, you and I are probably going to be the only 2 people that sign it.
It probably will be. But I already signed it, and I was going to put it up there. He said, "Wait, we got to do it."
I will sign it and send you a picture. We can do it tonight.
I already sent it to you. You're going to post it because you're the poster.
The poster. The pledge basically says, folks, Representative Burns is asking all candidates running for office to basically denounce Vision and not take any money from them.
Yes.
I was going to read it to you, but you can see it on Facebook.
I lowered my phone, but my phone's recording right now.
Yes. It's a big deal. Vision tends to back all of the candidates running for office. It creates a big problem. You and I are running for commissioner, and I'm assuming Scott Hunt will get money again. He was endorsed by them.
Well, they endorsed it. Everybody endorsed it.
Everyone endorsed him because they wanted Jerry Cardinale out. And Jerry was the big vote getter in the primary. Yeah. So look for that online. I encourage all politicians involved to sign a pledge and to admit they're not going to take money from special interests. They're not going to be bought off by special interests. They're not going to have secret backroom meetings. How often do we have these conversations?
It seems to be an ongoing
The school, the city, Tran, the commission, everyone's having...
the housing authority.
The housing authority, that's on my list.
Is that on your list? Okay, I won't jump ahead.
So Frank Burns, thank you for sending the letter.
We'll post that as soon as John gets around to it.
I do my best. Today I posted, Joe, a letter from the city of Johnstown. I sued them.
You?
Me, I know. Lawsuits and right to know requests, you're shocked.
Why did you sue the city?
They violated my freedom of speech rights about Mom's house.
Yes.
So they sent me a 2-page letter today requesting like 2 months of more time because they have to deliberate with the city council and the planning commission. And I agreed to it because I think that they want to find a way because they're going to lose. They know they're going to lose.
Okay.
They violated my rights. The problem with all this is they cut me off with Mom's house. We've been discussing this now for multiple podcasts. I spoke to Mom's house this week. They were very upset. They received an email from John Donansky. I think it was John Donansky. The $2 million they were getting as a grant from the city, which they matched to do the $4 million rec center, has been reallocated to parks, and one of the parks is outside Sylvia King's
Imagine that.
Church.
They reallocated the money they were going to give. It's almost like maybe that was something they were looking to do anyway.
All along.
Wow.
So now the money is gone, so will Mom's house find another $2 million?
So delay until we can reallocate the money.
And they read me, the original request was sent in June of 2021, and it was approved with the ARPA money. Yes. And they kept putting up roadblocks, and your zoning's not right, and we can't vote, we have to pass the buck and play ping pong.
So delay, ping pong it around, and then when you get the ability to, you reallocate it to a playground in front of Sylvia King's church.
Close enough.
Yeah.
And it's $3 million.
That's a
and
hell of a playground.
She was told it was for 2 playgrounds.
That's a lot of money for a playground.
Well,
you need $1.5 million for a playground.
Even if it's $1 million, or they're allocating it. So
there's no $1 million playground.
So who's getting the money? That's the question. And remember, it's...
I mean, I'm not saying they can't spend $1.5 million on a playground. I'm sure they could spend it. I just don't think you need
Well, I'll jump down topics. We saw the article on the news.
We have to go one at a time.
We are.
You took a lot of time to build that.
Okay.
Yeah, we have to just do it.
We'll continue with the cities.
No, go ahead and jump.
1.6 million design plans, and you saw the story on Central Park.
The Central Park, 1.6 million? Okay, we can jump.
Go ahead, Joe, before I jump in.
They're going to spend 1.6 million, correct? 1.6.
They've already paid 1.6 million for design for the firm.
Not for the park, just to have a New York architectural firm. It's an architect firm
from New York.
Make a plan. Does that firm have anybody that's connected? 2
local firms are, I guess, subcontracting. They've already approved it.
Is that one that they always that
C&J
well, I don't
or
know.
C&L or whatever it is?
Okay, there's a name of person that's always comes up when it comes to architecture that has attachment to the bottom.
It's a problem.
Yeah,
it's a problem.
So
of course, the Main Street corridor, the raised, all these tens and millions.
$1.6 million to draw up a plan for a Central Park. That's been that way since I was a kid.
You and I are in Moxham right now. No money in Moxham. No money in Walnut Grove. No money in Kernville. No money in the West End.
Yeah.
But downtown needs $30 million.
Of course they do.
Plus the train station, $25 million.
It's ridiculous.
So, and there was the talk about moving the statues. Of course, they're going to claim. Have you been to Central Park lately? It's nice. Central Park is nice.
Fine.
It doesn't need a $1.6 million plan.
Of all the things that need done, Central Park isn't something that I would say needs redone.
But it was on the news.
Plant a couple trees.
The city gave a interview saying they were talking about moving the statues.
Oh yeah.
Seriously.
Moving the chairs around on the Titanic. Just move them around.
I know one of your favorite things to talk about, Joe, is the State Theater.
Well, we're talking about wasting money, right?
You see how I do the segue? Now Erica's going to call us up and scream at us.
He was going to come by.
Eric, we invite you to come on our podcast.
He's going to bring drinks.
Margaritas.
Yeah?
He has a liquor license.
Well,
I
don't think you need a liquor license to have a couple of drinks in the waiting room of a chiropractic office.
They were on the JRA's agenda this week. They're taking on the insurance liability for their building.
Yes.
The JRA is trying to get ownership of it to do as a pass-through.
Yeah.
And they got the IMAX, and everyone's all excited. But see, you and I were talking about streaming.
Everybody's not all excited. I could care less.
You love it, Joe.
I mean, if he was wasting his own money on it, I would care even less than I do. But he is wasting taxpayer money. He got a building for free, right?
In the process.
So the hospital
for $1.
The hospital turned non-profit to profit. Wanted to dump a building, so they dumped it for the tax write-off to the JRA. Correct? They gave it to the JRA. Or?
They're in the process of doing that.
Who owns it right now?
I think the hospital still owns it,
okay.
And the JRA assumed the liability, or they're training it. I lose track.
Yeah, it's convoluted. There's a lot.
It's very convoluted.
But this all started. Them marketing that State Theater all started when the hospital was turning profit.
Yes.
And they wanted to dump assets, so they wanted to dump it.
The roof was bad. There's structural issues.
They want to fix it.
Yes.
They wanted to dump it. So then they dumped it on the taxpayer, and then we paid
the roof
grants for the roof.
And
$150,000,
yes.
right? I think there's other stuff that was done to it before Eric got involved.
And the thing is, like, Eric has good intentions. You and I have, Eric, if you're watching this, we've spoken to you numerous times. He's offered to do a Q&A with us.
He has good intentions, but he feeds into the nonsense. Because when that guy was doing that documentary, that Vince guy, remember him?
We were in that. This town won't die.
He
refused,
and refused. So it's basically a public theater because we're paying for it, and he refused to air a documentary that didn't make Johnstown all sunshine and rainbows. So because it wasn't the sunshine rainbow documentary, he blackballed it.
And he trashed it.
And he trashed it. But he has good intentions, and he's drank the Kool-Aid. He's in it.
We were discussing streaming services versus the need for a movie theater.
Movie theaters are dying.
I know they are, because people could watch anything they want on TV.
Well, like we were talking. Back in the day, my dad had a nice TV. It was a wood box with a lamp
We
on
had one
it.
of those. It was big. It was the size of a room.
And you went to the movies because you go and see
big screen.
Big screen because Transformers came out and you'd see it in the big screen, which I remember seeing it downtown across from City Hall.
Or you went to the Silver Drive and paid $5 for a carload.
Which one was that one across from City? The public
I
safety.
don't know.
I remember going to that one.
I remember the $1 one over at Bellevue Plaza by
Value City.
Value City.
I remember $5 carload nights at the
Silver
at the drive-in.
Yeah.
That was fun.
It was.
But it's not. I have a 65, 75-inch TV in my basement with surround sound and DVD player. My kids don't need to go to the movie theaters.
It created an issue. So, Eric, we wish you the best. Let us know when the Q&A is. We'll try to be there.
Yeah.
I always could say, yeah. Joe, one of the biggest things we had this week, and you were in the paper for it, was the debacle.
I made the paper.
The debacle at Prospect.
We
have a video. I have a secret video that one of the tenants made for us. So it's on Facebook.
I have the voice. I have to put.
We also have an entire audio recording of it, folks, that we're going to put online eventually.
I haven't gotten around to it yet.
It's crystal clear. One of the tenants had the microphone in. I mean, you gotta laugh at this stuff because they know the house.
Well, as I was walking out, I'm like, record it. Tell your friends to record.
Well, they wouldn't let you. Representative Burns was turned away. You were, the media, any of the local reverends.
You would at least, I can understand removing people that are just there like me, or like the regular people that aren't part of it, but Burns is a representative for the
state
people.
rep.
Granted we are but I still can see, okay, you're not yet, so, or what, let the state rep in. Let the media in, that way
report it.
They can report it, and then people they'll say, what happened in the meeting? Oh, and then the news media reports it. That's
my question to you is, why wasn't that new task force at the secret meeting? The one that was on the news that's supposed to be finding housing options. The one that some of the former Vision members were on, said we're going to get $50 million for a new build. Remember some of that on the
news? From what I understand, that meeting was a complete joke, and I answered no questions whatsoever.
It was a circus.
From everybody that I know that went to it said it was completely garbage. They didn't answer any questions. So what is the housing authority doing? They're
playing games. Now the housing authority has a meeting Tuesday at noon. I will be there. Johnny Clancher, if you're watching this,
now
he may be there. So
they did admit at that meeting that it was not HUD that shut them down.
They said it was them, but they said that on the recording, not to the media. That's how the media got it in the recording.
Yeah, they said it on the record.
They said it was when the ceiling fell in the video that we had from Subi's apartment and Koya's apartment.
HUD didn't shut them down and make them vacate it. They decided they were going to.
So that's a big admission.
But they didn't say why they were doing. They said structural, but they didn't say
details.
What exactly it was. And if they came out and said, "Hey, this is what happened when we put the roofing on, it was done incorrectly, and it could fall and kill you right now. So we had to move you out." Oh, okay. But they didn't explain that at all. So what
I think they're lying about something.
I think they're lying, and I think they see there's a $50 million. What is it? $500,000 to develop a community. So they can spend that, and then there's $50 million to develop a new community. So they have that money that they're probably salivating over. Mm-hmm. And if you go up there, they've cleaned a lot out.
It's beautiful up there.
Well, I mean, it looks like something. Well, I mean, they some of it looks rough. They've done one of their tear down jobs. Remember the old flood buildings that one girl was trying to rehab, mm-hmm. and they stopped her. Mm-hmm. I think they wanted that property.
I'm curious to see what happens down the road and if people stand for it.
Yeah.
They said I think 61 residents were already moved. The other 40, I'd force them to evict.
Are they going to tear those down?
Yeah.
Or are they going to sell those
pennies on the dollar
over to one of their buddies for pennies on the dollar?
On the dollar.
He's doing us a favor by giving us $100 for him. There's some ridiculous low.
Our good friend Jack Williams and Charlene Stanton sent me 2 things this week.
Oh.
One was Jack's OOR ruling. He lost, but he proved that the city had a year of non-payments on some of the city loans and never did delinquency.
Shocker. You mean
no delinquencies?
The city gave out loans to people and then didn't collect?
And then never did delinquencies. So Jack, if you're watching, thank you. The second thing,
the loans they got, who has delinquencies that they
have? Bioscience, that ICs.
Oh, them again?
Them again. They still have it a year. He asked for payments. The second thing Jack hit them with was he writes a no request at the Johnstown Planning Commission meeting minutes because of my lawsuit, I believe.
They don't
and he found they don't have minutes, they don't do roll calls, they don't do votes right.
When I was on there, they didn't. We got a letter from whoever was doing the sewer at the time, and we had to sign off and approve, like, vote that whatever plan that sewer company was doing didn't violate the plan for the city. So I asked the question. I was new. Well, can I have a copy of the plan for the city? They didn't have one.
No solicitor.
I was like, so we're a planning commission and we don't have a plan for the city.
No stenographer at the meetings. So Jack, I'll use it when I fight. I think the city's going to make me take them to court because they're not going to want to admit they were wrong. We'll see. The other big thing we had this week, 6 resignations on division. What do you think, Joe?
Did they get rid of all their politicians?
Not all of them. Mark Pasquarella is still on the board. Michael Kerr from the Water Authority is still on the board. And one of the newest board members is Tim Leventree, the solicitor of the Housing Authority.
He's a nice guy, but there's probably something to do.
Why CS? Why him with the Housing Authority? So if division people are watching, too little, too late.
Who was the other person they put on?
John Bayush, Rachel Allen.
Oh, never mind.
The JRA had their meeting this week. Johnny Clancher, if you're watching, thank you for recording it. Johnny also went to the Greater Johnstown Water Authority and videotaped that and put it on Facebook. John, you're turning into me, Johnny and Johnny. You like that? The 2 big things they passed this week were they hired Wessel to do some of the auditing work, but they still have to hire a finance advisor. So how much money are they paying? And they're buying more properties.
Who is this?
JRA, Johnstown Redevelopment Authority.
Well, I don't mind them buying properties. Who are they buying them for? What are they doing with them?
They bought one on the West End, one on, I think, Ash Street.
They're selective in who they buy. It almost seems like they buy them for people that like a special interest.
Yes. The other thing we saw on Facebook that I saw it online and I laughed. Frank Burns ended up suing the Republican Party and Renee Billow for defamation.
Yeah,
that's funny.
That's good.
Yeah.
That's nice. I mean,
well, he sued them on the grounds that they sued him, and in their response to suing him, they said that he was a liar. So he's claiming defamation because they called him a liar. You realize it's totally absurd.
Or they called him a liar, or like the slumlord thing, or whatever.
That too. It was like a 60. Yeah. So now the Republican Party's under it. Yeah.
They're pushing that, and they should have stopped it. And he's just kind of like, oh yeah, well, I can do it too, and they deserve it. So just let it go.
But
when the election's over,
let it go.
You shake hands, you go your way.
And honestly, you and I are big Frank Burns supporters.
I
I like Frank. Frank does stuff. He shows up. He's honest. He takes heat like we do.
He's not extreme. He's on anything. He's pretty much middle of the road.
You ask him a question,
he answers it. He helps you out.
And when you need the help, when you were at the meeting, and granted, you're a politician, you're running for office.
Yeah.
No one else was there. It was just you and Burns. No one else was there. Where was everybody else?
I don't.
They didn't care. Where were they? The Prospect.
Where were the Housing Authority board members? Where were the city council members?
I'll tell you where they were. They were getting emails from Mayor Frank to nominate him for the Walk of Fame. Did you see that online?
I did.
I got a leaked email, people, from my good friend Mayor Frank. More leaked secrets.
Yes.
He wants everyone to vote for him for the Walk of Fame because he's so super awesome.
That's important.
Frank, why aren't you at Prospect helping the people?
When they do that $1.6 million for the Central Park, they can put a statue.
Statue of Frank.
Yeah.
You realize they're probably going to name the park after him. You know that, right? They changed the names for all the bridges and all the parks.
I don't care.
Frank, we had the thing with the gun in the school, the Greater Johnstown School District, where they had the shelter in place and the mother got arrested with the gun. That was a Second Amendment issue.
What are you going to tell about?
Your Second Amendment.
Well, I didn't like how the way the DA said in the paper about it, but then we've come to find out that she was being a little bit outlandish.
So there's questions.
Well, I said it initially. I said if she was actually being negligent with it, then good. But if it's just your kid said something wrong at school, knock knock, I want to take all your weapons out of your house. Ugh, I don't like that. But there wasn't enough information, and the comment that he made in his press release was room for interpretation. Hey, just remember, watch what you're doing with your guns or something. And it's like, oh boy.
I do want to give a shout out to Joe Warhol and Charlene Stanton. Joe, on our Revitalize Johnstown page, Joe and Charlene, if you're watching, they post Blight. They try to create change. They offer great comments, solutions. One of the things, the city has this codes court as part of their code enforcement. They've never used it. And if you drive around the city and you see the blight and you see all that, and Warhol is very good about, here's a picture, I've been complaining for 3 months and nothing happens.
But that code, what about that court? Because I don't think that exists.
They talk about it, they created it, they haven't had a case yet, the codes court.
Who's on it?
Oh, who knows? They create board, the Main Street Committee has 21 members, they haven't met once in 3 years.
Because I think I filed right to know request before asking who was on this board. Because I was trying to appeal it.
They probably have no idea.
And I asked them where I was going to appeal this to, and they said, no, just whatever they gave me a ticket for like a bag of garbage that was sitting out. And they said, just pick it up within 10 days and it's fine. And I said, can I appeal it? Well, it turns out there wasn't. Even though on their little ticket they said they were supposed to be, they didn't have anybody on it. It didn't exist.
The problem with the city is, like the delinquencies, Jack Williams, I suppose.
They have boards that they don't do anything. Put anybody on them.
The Main Street Committee has 21 people. They haven't met. Oh, we're going to meet that. No, you've already paid $1.6 million for a design plan, and the people you appointed to a government board to oversee this haven't met or approved it. So why'd you make an appointment?
Well, because they did that so they could quiet people down and say, look, we had this big board, all these people, and they're going to direct where the money's going, not us. And they went, that's how we're going to do. And they did that to quiet people because they were getting slack of
and now 3 years go by.
So it's a little bit of show, a little razzle dazzle, and then they disappear.
A couple positives before I do our final. There's public skating at the War Memorial for $5, Joe. You ever go public skating with the kids?
I don't public skate.
Your kids public skate?
I don't know.
Ice skating is a good thing, people. The First Summit Bank has the Ken Lansky All-Star Classic 10-year partnership. That was in the paper today. Big event, brings events to the area.
Is this your positive section?
Yes. And one more thing after this. The Galleria, this is not so positive. The Glow roller rink. Did you see the thing about the parent bitching about the $6?
No. I heard someone saying about it, like, if you're a parent to go to watch, you have to pay.
And they weren't thrilled about that.
Well, I wouldn't either.
I would,
If I'm just sitting there watching my kids scoot around, I shouldn't have to pay.
Yes, but they have limited space. I read the back and forth, and I support you, Jacob. Jacob Moore's the guy running it. I think it's a great idea, trying to bring kids and people.
Question, did he get any money from Richland to open that up? Did he get grants?
I don't think so.
Did he get $250,000?
No, he didn't have nothing. He did it all on his own.
I don't really care what he does with the money.
He
wants to charge people, parents, $6 to sit there. If that business plan works for him,
he was so hard up for money. He went on GoFundMe to get money to pay for the floor of the roller rink because he had no. And that's a good thing if people get private money.
But it's not my tax money.
No,
I don't care.
Yeah. This weekend, Joe, on Saturday they have the Bunny Hop Bar Crawl throughout downtown Johnstown.
Bunny Hop.
That's what it's called. It's in Johnstown. Next month on April 22nd, it's a freight station celebration of life for Lance Ross. They're trying to, no updates, no clues.
Oh yeah, they don't.
The big thing on Facebook, I saw this.
They did find that guy that for Park Avenue, the shooting. He was
that was today.
This morning.
They extradited.
Hey, they got him. Good.
The big thing on Facebook yesterday was the new Chipotle in Richland. Did you read some of those comments?
I don't pay attention to that.
I saw it all over. People were complaining about why isn't it in Johnstown? Richland scooped it.
Well, I don't have any. I have no question of why it's in Richland, not in Johnstown. There's no traffic in Johnstown. Although, of course, it's booming.
Booming, and the parking is not free. Burns got $2 million in grants for the area.
Didn't they spend it on something wasteful?
The city spent it on a trail. But everyone else did it for their fire departments or
We spend so much money on trails. It's just ridiculous.
The last thing we were talking about today, of course, is we're running for commissioner, so the election.
Okay.
We weren't sued off the ballot. I'm sure you're shocked. Joe, you are number 1 on the ballot. I am number 3.
I'm number 1.
You're going to get more votes. You're going to get more votes.
After 40-some years of life, I finally become number 1.
That makes me number 3.
Not
number 2.
Keep working.
But the problem is we're running against Scott Hunt.
Okay.
And Scott's a rhino. He endorsed Tom and BJ in the past. He votes with them all but one time in 4 years. He took everyone's endorsement. He took their money. Yeah. He voted to give Vision $90,000. And he has no platform. Last year during the CYS debacle, he wanted $7,000 each one-time payment in the courthouse. It would have cost $1 million some. Scott's out of control. He's leading the county to a recess.
I don't know if I think he's out of control.
I think if he has the majority vote, We're going to be going to a reassessment. He's going to raise taxes.
Well, the fact that he wants to give everybody $7,000 across the board and spend
It was a one-time payment last year. That was his plan. So the security people are making $90,000. They need another $7,000. It didn't pass, luckily.
Well, yeah, but it's not a good plan.
No. So Scott,
it was more of a, I'm going to do something. It was like a one-up. He was trying to one-up the plans that they were doing because the CYS people were complaining.
And it wasn't very smart.
Recklessly spending money is rarely ever smart.
Yes. So Scott, hopefully he loses. We can't afford to have any more of these rhinos in office. Because that's what he is.
Yes, he is.
That's what he is. And he's a kiss ass. He really is. He goes to all the offices, gossips all day, and flitters around, passing information, not doing his job.
I don't know.
That's why I hear it from everybody in the courthouse. Because even though Scott thinks he's Mr. Popular, they really don't like him. That's why. That's how I get all the stories. They all call me up and tell me.
A lot of people tell you a lot of things.
I hear it all. Is there anything else you want to say about the election?
No,
we haven't really talked about Keith. I saw him the ballot day. He was very nice to me. We had a nice talk.
Personally, I don't have any problem with it.
No. Keith, best of luck. Even though I want us to win.
Well, yeah.
Best of luck.
I mean, the issue that we have is our county, just like our city. Is it trending up or is it trending down?
Oh, population lost, revenue lost, jobs lost.
If you want to continue on the trends, then elect the same people that are there. If you want the trends, if you want to try something to offset the trends of everything declining, then you have to put people in that are willing to upset and do things differently. That's us.
And that's us, because we will think outside the box.
We will do different than what's going on currently.
And we're not controlled.
And push things that we think and that other people around us think that are going to change the trajectory of what we're doing.
Because Representative Burns' pledge, but the real crux of that is, don't be controlled by vision. It should be the politician who's getting into office, the person that's going to tell you what they think and not be...
Currently what we have at many elected offices in this area are they're the face of this group or this group of people or these organizations, and they're very dependent upon the money for next election, getting signatures and doing all the politicking to maintain their job, and they look at it more of a job and pension power. Or even ones that pay lower, like councils and whatnot, it's a prestige and power, and that's what they're pushed for, those things, and they're willing to do whatever that group tells them to do, so that they maintain that office.
And the point is, people, we need change now.
Oh yeah.
So, anything else before I go to the final thought?
That's
guy in the other chair.
We were the final thought.
My final thought is this, folks. Joe and I are on the ballot. We were not sued off the ballot. That's to be the title of our episode. We're on the ballot. Number 1 and number 3. If you want change, this is your chance to fix things. Vote change. Vote transparency. Vote honesty. Joe and I are not naive, folks. We know that our enemies, and yes, we have enemies, are going to throw the kitchen sink at us.
And we understand that we're the underdogs.
They're going to say that we can't do the things we say we do. They're going to say that we're horrible people. They're going to whisper behind backroom scenes. They're going to give endorsements from their friends and money.
Oh, we don't know.
They're going to talk us down whatever way they can, because they know that if we get in, we will actually do something to fix the area's issues. Whether we win or lose, we're not going away. This is our 5th time running. I counted. And maybe this will be the magic. I mean, look at Jim Rigby. He ran 4 times and finally got in. And Jim got in. So hopefully, people, if you're remembering us, Tuesday, May 16th, Joe and I will be continuing with the podcast. We have multiple lawsuits. We have transparency. We're fighting for the Prospect residents. We have a couple upcoming forums. We hope that you will give us a chance and give us your vote, because this is the time. Cambria County can't afford, because if we don't make a change now, if you look at the last census, they went off of the 2010 numbers, Joe. That's how bad, because of COVID.
Well, our county has gone down so much.
We were going to get downgraded. We're going to lose a judge, services, money.
So 4 offices at the county level in the row will combine down, and we'll lose 1 judge. So yeah.
And that's coming in 2030. Right now, the trails and the positivity and all that's not bringing jobs.
Positivity sounds great, but if you bring up real issues and you look at things straightforward, they label you with the negativity, but that's reality. And if we don't change and look at reality and we just gloss into this, glazy-eyed positivity where trails and tourism and it's all going to bring about, increased jobs and it's not going to increase jobs and performance for the county at all.
And the do-nothing politicians like Scott Hunt, Scott really needs to lose the election. Okay. He does, I'm saying.
That's why we're running.
For 4 years of watching him do nothing, never introduce a motion, never introduce a platform, never take a stand. He's always voting with Tom and BJ, the Democrats. He's a rhino for them directly. And then he defends them in the paper.
Yes, he plays with them completely.
No ambition, no leadership. So
you want something different, you have to vote different.
So we're on the ballot. We weren't sued. I guess we'll see you all next week. Thank you so much.